colours anymore. I want them to turn black. I see the girls go by dressed in their summer clothes. I have to turn my head until my darkness goes. I see a
40 years after the heyday of the women's liberation movement, women have clearly benefited in many ways from the legacy of that political struggle. Many women today have had access to education and jobs and are much more free to make choices about how to live their lives. But when they become mothers, differences between the genders invariably reassert themselves. So to what extent are we now living the feminist dream? Are you a feminist, Romana?
I wouldn't actually call myself a feminist at all, and I think, I'm not quite sure what feminism is.
Well, I suppose if I was at a dinner party and a man tried to tell me that my role in life was to have baby and pick up his pants, and I think I would turn around and say, yes, I am a feminist.
Are you a feminist, Caroline?
Yes, definitely.
Alan, is Mel a feminist? I'm not sure I know what that means.
maybe they'll fade away and I'll have to face the facts. It's not easy.
Off we go. Remember your posture, still standing tall, relax those shoulders, hips to handles.
So, do mothers opt to be at work or at home? Did feminism alter the division of labour in the family, one of its fundamental aims? And when it comes to the domestic work today, who is actually doing what?
I'm the coordinator. I've got it all in my head. I know exactly who's doing what and where.
I have lists and lists and lists, and that's the only way I can do it, is to cross off and cross off and cross off.
My brain is always constantly thinking about the order in which I'm going to do things and how I can fit the most in.
Black as the night, black as coal, I want to see the sun lighting up from the sky.
Romana Kuchai is an ear, nose and throat surgeon. She has a 3-year-old daughter and employs a full-time nanny.
Would you like a tea or coffee?
No, I'm okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I have.
Okay. See you a little bit later on.
Have a nice day.
You too.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.
As a surgeon, Romana does a job that is still more typically done by men. You have a nanny. What hours does she work?
She works 7 to 7, 5 days a week.
So it's 7 in the morning till 7 in the evening?
That's right.
And what time does Sophie wake up and go to bed?
Round about 7, and sleeps about 7. So that ties in perfectly with the nanny.
Was your mother a stay-at-home mother?
She was a housewife, very dedicated to her family, always there to pick me up from school, meals on the table, etc., full time. And I think I'm a complete contrast to that. I always tend to leave my mobile phone available out on a desk or a shelf or somewhere in theatre. And I have a separate ringtone for home and for the nanny. She knows my schedule and I've given her a timetable, so she's fully aware that I'm in theatre, that if she rings at that time, it's going to be something relevant, something important, and I will make sure somebody picks it up.
And who comes home to relieve the nanny?
99% of the time, it's myself. It's very rarely that I'll ask my husband to say, look, can you be home at a certain time? That happens very occasionally. On the whole, I think I take the onus of arranging home.
Romana's husband, Evangelos, is a surgeon too, and has been working abroad for most of the last year.
Well done.
The couple are expecting their second child.
That's absolutely great.
So, Romana, can you tell me, when's the baby due?
The baby's due in 3 days' time. So Thursday is the big day.
And can you tell me what you were doing 2 days ago?
2 days ago, I was actually sitting my CCST exams for the surgical exams. They're the exit exams. So I did those on Saturday.
And their exams, that's the sort of next stage in order to become a consultant. So you were booked in to do those how many days before your baby's due?
5 days before the baby's due. So, bit of a tight schedule, but it had to be done. So, yeah. You know, if you ask an F1 driver, is his life intense? He'll probably say, well, no more than usual. It's what you're used to. You're used to that. I couldn't slow down.
So, Romana, with Evangelos having been away for so long, you've obviously had to manage without him. What are the things you really need him for?
Actually, to be honest, not a huge amount, frankly. The house hasn't really physically missed you in that respect. I think things just tick along nicely. You know, I mean, if you have to take the car for MOT or servicing, I'm quite happy to do things like change the oil. I've done that. You know, light bulbs, all sorts of things. You know, just baseline, plumbing, leaks, all of that. I mean, to be honest, you know, I'm the one with all the numbers anyway. You know, my phone's the one with the numbers for the plumber, the electrician. But I do, don't I? Because you don't have the numbers for the plumbers and the electricians. He doesn't have any of those on the phone.
But is that why? So Evangelos says it's because you enjoy it. Is that right?
I think that's rubbish.
I think part of it is most of the time it's easier for Romana, for example, to make a call when she's at work than for me to make a call or take a call.
I actually don't agree with that. I'm sorry, it's on camera. I actually don't agree with that. Because I don't agree with that because we are equally busy at work.
Yeah, we are, yeah. I think you're better in finding time than I am to make the call.
So you don't? Do you have your mobile when you're in theatre?
I do, but you know,
it's pretty useless.
It has to be, you know, something really important, an emergency, other than, you know, more of a social call. Really, I'll try not to be, you know,
Listen
disturbed.
to that. How can you say? Oh, I don't get social calls in theatre.
No.
It's things like preempt. You see, that sums it up. It's things like preempting, knowing that you need to have a different ringtone for your nanny. He wouldn't even think about that. That's not even an issue that's been raised. It's just happened. I have it, while as you don't.
La 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 la. Yeah 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 yeah. La 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 la. Yeah 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 yeah. La 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 la. Yeah 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 yeah.
We're exploring sounds, aren't we? What are we going to have to do to make your recorder work? Blow it. Yeah, absolutely.
Tracy Walker has 3 children and is a primary school teacher. She teaches at the school that her 2 youngest children attend.
What's the word we're looking for? Bang. Blow.
I get up at 7 and get myself ready, try and get the kids out of bed, get them dressed and make them breakfast. And then I go off to work.
Vibrate.
And then Tim brings the children to school and then he goes off sort of straight away, cycles to work.
Jibril.
We finish school at 3:15 and then I spend up to a couple of hours planning, getting ready for the next day, marking, tidying the classroom and generally sort of catching up with my teaching admin tasks while my children wait for me. And as soon as I get home, I start getting the supper ready. And then get them ready for bed and baths, stories. And then when they've gone to bed, I've often got jobs to catch up on, so put the washing machine on. Sometimes I've got some schoolwork to catch up with, maybe prepare some resources for the lessons the next day. And then cook for Tim and I, and tend to sort of about 9:30 sit down in front of the television and nod off.
Very, very, very hungry.
Who does the food shopping?
Internet. I do it on the internet.
Who does the laundry?
Me.
Who does the cooking?
Me mostly. I do the kind of real drudgy cooking, like the kids every evening, you know, making sure there's breakfast and things like that.
And who does the cleaning?
The cleaning. Well, Tim when he puts the dishwasher on, he'll do kind of clean the work surfaces and the kitchen at the end of the day. But I have to say, it doesn't really happen on a weekly basis. We've just lowered our standards. I think just because there is no time.
Are you a feminist, Tracy?
Yeah, I think I would say I was a feminist. I haven't really thought about it for a long time. But I think, certainly when I was at university, it was a word that I would have, used very kind of proudly. But I don't really think about it very much anymore. I do just kind of get on with my life and, don't really think about sort of gender politics very much.
Tracy's husband Tim works office hours in central London as a museum administrator.
Tim, would you say you're a feminist or a pro-feminist man?
Yes, but not in any sort of dogmatic way, but my natural inclination is to look towards, equality of... I'm certainly not anti-women, I don't think, in any way.
So who does the laundry, Tim?
Tracy does it, most of it.
All of it?
85% of the time. 80% of the time.
I do all the laundry.
Well, most of the laundry.
I do,
No, you do all of it. I do
all
odd
of
bits of laundry. Okay, I do odd washes.
When you
I do
need
some of the
some
putting
things.
away, but I don't really do very much of it.
So what was that? The 20% of the laundry that you just laid claim to that Tracy doesn't... What was that then?
That was that
that
probably
guilt?
is things when I it's probably actually when I desperately
something
need
for
something
work.
and then I just do a load of washing.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's your own laundry?
Well, no, it's mixed up with other people's, but it's driven by my own needs. Yeah.
Definitely.
How often does that actually happen?
A couple of times a month.
Okay, so if a wash is going on every day and you're doing 2 a month, I'm not very good at maths, but that doesn't come out as 20%, does it?
No.
Probably not
Look,
quite 20%.
I teach maths daily. It doesn't come out as 20%, no. No.
Who does the cleaning?
Probably you, I would say. It would be fair comment. I'd probably be pushed to claim even 10% of that, quite honestly.
10%? Would you give him 10%, Tracy? You gave him 0%.
Yeah,
then,
no,
I
you
asked
don't
That's a
sort
bit
of off
harsh.
your own back decide. You don't wake up and think, right, today I'm going to clean the bathroom.
Never. But that's just the kind of
Whereas
mindset
I
of when
do.
you wake up. I mean, I don't know.
Well, you know what I mean. Yeah, it sort of plays on my mind more that the cleaning hasn't been done than it ever would on Tim's mind, I'm sure.
I've definitely got a higher tolerance of filth, I would say.
But Tracy, are you taking on too much just because it's easy to take all these tasks on? You'd rather take these jobs on than have conflict in your relationship. Is that why?
Sometimes. Yeah, I mean, I remember actually when I was folding up the washing and putting it into 5 piles once, I did think, oh my God, I'll do this and then I'll look round and the laundry basket will be filled again. And I thought, but what's the point of getting upset, cross, angry about it, It's just one of those... Once I kind of got that into my head that, this is what I do, then I've sort of stopped... I think I've stopped moaning about doing the washing. I mean, every now and again it'll come up, but I have just thought, well, I'm just going to do it. We're both working full time, but I carry this other thing around with me, which is, oh my goodness, look at the state of the bath hasn't been cleaned, and the ceiling needs painting, or there's cobwebs everywhere. I carry that along with me as well. Tim doesn't. He's a free bird.
No, it does not dominate my thinking at all.
So in terms of both your days, Tim, who would you say, if you include the domestic stuff and the paid stuff, who works harder of you two?
Tracy.
I'm not one of these people that feel I need to prove that I can do everything a man can. I like being feminine, and I like being, you know, caring homemaker, that, you know, more feminine role. I probably would say I'm not a feminist, but I do lots of womanly kind of things.
Sorella Lavar chose to give up her job as a primary school teacher to raise 2 children. She's committed to her role as a traditional full-time mother.
When someone asks you to describe your occupation, how do you describe yourself?
I tell them that I'm a stay-at-home mum. Yeah. And I don't like the term housewife because I don't really feel that that says it, because you can be a housewife and not have any children to be looking after. And if I wasn't looking after Sterling all day at the age that he is, somebody else would have to be. So it's a job.
What are you baking now?
This is banana bread that hopefully will get... I can stop talking so much, I might actually get it in the oven for the kids to have as their snack when they get back from school.
Can you describe for me your weekly schedule?
Tuesday morning's Toddler World. Wednesday, probably library. Thursday might be my errand day where I walk up to Bethnal Green, go to the bank or something like that. Friday is, again, it varies.
What's that?
As well as a schedule for children's activities, Sorella also has a weekly timetable for domestic work.
Here we go. Look, we done it? Done it! Hooray! Monday is wash towels and clean the bathrooms. And Tuesday is either light or dark wash, and Wednesday is the reverse.
Thursday?
Thursday's dusting.
Friday?
Am I sounding just like completely too organised?
Friday?
Friday's hoovering. And then Saturday and Sunday morning we wash the kids' bedding and our bedding and clean the kitchen.
Do you enjoy the domestic work?
Oh no, I don't enjoy it. Does anyone? I don't think so. I think people just do it because they like the end result. They like that your home is always kind of welcoming and not chaotic, and nobody ever runs out of socks and stuff like that. But it's not an actual nice to do it.
Yeah.
And do you ever get bored?
Cheeky. I do feel that, yes, it is a bit mundane. It's repetitive, but the highs make up for the mundaneness, and to see my children and how well I think they're doing. You know, I feel very proud that I've been able to do this for them, really. I enjoy it most days.
How are you different from a 1950s housewife, Sorella?
That's a hard question. How to describe a 1950s housewife?
Well, I suppose, put it another way, towards the end of the 50s and the early 60s, there were a lot of women who felt that they were kind of trapped in the home, in a suburban home, doing the cooking and the cleaning and the childcare. And that's kind of when feminism came along, because women were desperate to escape that kind of enslavement.
But this was never expected of me. I don't think that everybody should do what we're doing. I don't think it would suit everybody. But luckily, it has suited us, and we're both okay with it.
Sorella's husband, Michael, commutes across London every day. He's a manager in an internet company.
So who is the boss in this house?
Cool. Who's the boss? I don't know. What day of the week is it? I don't know, really.
Does there have to be a boss? Why can't we just We just muddle through together, don't we?
I don't have a feeling of there being a boss.
No.
It seems to me that Sorella runs an incredibly tight ship here.
Mm-hmm.
And I wondered if that meant that she's kind of in charge just because she's so on top of everything.
It doesn't feel that way. The place is well run and well organised. I appreciate that, and I get the benefit from it. So working in with it, it's good.
So you don't feel controlled by it?
No.
So would you two say that you have an equal relationship?
I would say so.
Sorella?
Yeah, absolutely.
And would you say, are there any resentments on either side around kind of division of labour?
No, I don't feel so.
Sorella?
No, not at all.
Which of you has a nicer life?
Got it! How about this one? Green ball.
I would say working with the kids is probably got to be the most not beneficial. You get better feedback from having the kids than you would have from managing, the people at work. So I would say yours.
You like your job?
Yeah.
But I love looking after the children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So by and large, you're having a more rewarding time, Sorella?
Absolutely, yeah. It's wonderful what I'm being able to do.
Cooking is a magical thing, said Jenny Olivia. When you cook something that's made with love, it has the amazing ability to transform into something really special. I can't wait to get started, said Felicity, eagerly unpacking her bags. It's wonderful you're so keen, continued Jenny, looking at Felicity, but it's important that we start at the beginning. Hello, how are you? Come on. Are you still sleeping? You're still a sleepy girl.
Emma Thompson has made a decision to reverse the gender roles in her house. She's an illustrator and brand creator who runs her own successful business. Emma is the breadwinner in her family. Her husband Julian is a house husband and looks after their 2 daughters.
Is that your one?
Do you want me to have this one?
Is that your one, Daddy?
You know those little black moleskin books? I constantly have one of those on the go, so I have lists and lists and lists. And that's the only way I can do it, is to cross off and cross off and cross off and carry forward, cross off and carry forward. So I'm constantly juggling and trying to make everything balanced. I see it as my responsibility to pay the mortgage and the school fees and probably our pension as well, if we're being realistic. Those 3 things are enormous. So if I can, what I'm trying to do, it probably sounds a bit mad, what I'm trying to do is cover all those 3 bases as quickly and efficiently as I can. Once I've done that, then I'll start doing a bit of fine art painting, I'll probably do less books, I'll probably just have a bit of a nicer life. But at the moment, that's what I'm aiming towards. Julian mainly buys their clothes and mainly dresses them.
So would he know their shoe sizes better than you?
Yeah.
Do you know their shoe sizes?
Well, I know, I think Lily might be an 8. I don't know. Yeah, he knows, I don't.
Put your ski shoes on.
You have to put your tights on first.
Colour up, colour
He's fantastic at washing, amazing. Apart from my cashmere jumpers, which I have forbidden him from touching because he's a bloke. They just get shoved in, it gets turned on, and knickers come out grey and cashmere jumpers come out the size of a 3 to 5 year olds. And he's good at clearing away stuff after he's cooked a meal and putting on the dishwasher. But I think this is another girly thing, is that he's not good at seeing the crumbs or going behind the bin or doing anything that's kind of hassly. Like, nobody likes cleaning out bins. It's a horrid job. And so he doesn't do it.
What does Julian do in terms of jobs when the girls are at school? When he has a whole day at home, what does he do?
I don't know. It's a mystery. When I first had Lily, I paid him £15,000 a year as a salary. And then, I mean, it wasn't really working out. You know, it wasn't particularly tax efficient for me to be paying him PAYE. It didn't really kind of work.
Do you think with the roles reversed in this way and with the situation set up as it is, that it's easy for him to feel like a man?
No, I think, yes, I don't know. I don't know. Probably not.
Can you describe your typical day from when you get up and what your day consists of?
It's really hard because I never really plan my days. I never have a timetable. It's just get on with things that need to be done, I suppose, whether it's just putting on wash loads because I'm getting behind, doing some ironing for the annex, do the shopping. If it's someone's birthday, we've got to go in town and get birthday presents and wrapping paper and things. Just life jobs, really, I suppose.
Yeah, mash. We do it on the floor. Right, just mash it.
Mash your way.
Denise had a long go with it.
You're really that hungry? It can be really exhausting. I mean, at the end of the day, you can be really, really tired, and it does take it out of you. And it's hard for me to sort of show it over to Emma of how tired I am, because she comes in and she's straight up to work and she's working really hard. And I've sort of cooked my dinner and I've tidied up, and then I'm just watching telly and I feel really guilty. But I think, no, I've done a good, hard day's work today. It's not hard as in got loads of jobs done, or she can actually visualise what I've done. But if one of them's been playing up all day, or they've just been in ratty moods, and you just feel like, oh, God, they're down and they're asleep. I want to just relax now. I've had enough.
In terms of looking after the girls, what does Emma do?
Yeah, trying to think. I feel like I've been put on the spot. What does she do? I suppose she's the one that works hard, that pays for everything, really.
At about 6:30, I take the dog for a walk for half an hour. Sometimes the dog doesn't get a walk. It just depends on what the deadlines are on and on how it's all going. But I really try to, because that's my only period that I can get actually out and away from the desk. But even then, I take my iPhone and I look at all my emails.
What do you want to drink, you two? Juice or milk? Or water?
I work from 8:30 probably to about 2 or 3 in the morning.
And how do you keep going working those kinds of hours, Emma?
Oh, it's awful. It's so bad. I am so embarrassed to admit, and it's only recently, I have to say, it's only in the last, I don't know, year or so, I rediscovered Pro Plus, which I'm a bit probably addicted to.
Is that enough?
Do you consider yourself a feminist, Emma?
No, not in any real sense at all. To be honest, I'm not very clued up about feminism. It was never part of my life.
And the potato. Have some
That is a
chicken
lot.
and some chicken pie.
Would you say that you're quite a controlling person?
No, I'm a complete control freak. Oh yes, of course I am. No, hands up, definitely 100%. Because otherwise, you know, I would have been able in business to have delegated a lot more effectively. But yeah, there's a lot of me reluctant to let go because it's awful to admit, but I'm always thinking, well, I could do it better and quicker, so I might as well just do it myself. So I don't
Do you
know
have that
whether
attitude in relation to Julian?
No, because I have to relinquish it. I have to. I can't do the housework and work, and I have to just bite my tongue when my cashmere jumpers are shrunk to size 0. That's I wouldn't have shrunk my cashmere jumpers, but I can't.
Yeah,
you
I'm
can't
sure
do
there's
it.
women out there that have done mess
Yeah,
ups
no,
on
I'm not
squashes and
saying.
things
Of
like
course,
that.
I do mess. I'm not saying it's blokes or
Okay.
you. I'm
I
just saying.
hate cashmere jumpers.
No, I'm
It's
talking
like,
about me.
What am I supposed to do with it? If I don't wash it, I get told off, and if I do wash it, I get told off. So either way.
Yeah, I know
just
exactly.
hide
I
it.
know. Poor lamb can't do anything wrong.
Do you think, Emma, that it's an equal relationship?
No, because I'm definitely more the dominant partner, in the sense because Julian is. I take advantage of Julian's relaxed attitude to life and his easygoing nature and his laid backness. So, you know, to that extent, I sort of abuse the fact that he's not going to have a go at me about working till 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm sure a lot of husbands would be there sort of going, come on now, enough is enough. But Julian doesn't do that.
I think you do sort of push it sometimes and you do get away with things, but I don't think it doesn't upset me or bother me. It's only like, that's not normal sometimes I feel, but then I just think, well, it's not bothering me, so there's no point in kicking up a fuss. You two, stop it.
Have you got your watch on? Yeah, all right.
What's wrong? Tony, are you a feminist?
I like to think so. Somebody once said I was.
I mean, I don't really read into feminism that much to sort of know the ins and outs on it.
I think equality is what we should all be striving for.
Are you a feminist?
I never describe myself as a feminist, no.
I believe a woman shouldn't be held back by either prejudice or law or policy.
Go. I'm running too, but we're not falling.
Mel Tibbs is 33 and has 3 children.
Give me the eggs then, Anne.
She lives a rural existence in Dorset and has been a full-time mother for the last 9 years.
It's not that I decided I wanted to stay at home, it's just that, to me, there isn't really an alternative. I wouldn't leave my children with someone else, so that means I have to look after them. That's, I don't know, it's sort of as simple as that, to be honest.
It doesn't matter if a bit goes out.
In terms of the division of domestic work, who does what?
We have such a traditional division of roles, it's really embarrassing to say, to be honest, but I do the cooking, I do the cleaning, I do the washing. Alan does build furniture, he does a certain amount of gardening. What else is there? I make the packed lunches. Alan tends to be a clearer upper of meals, so I make them, he does the clearing up afterwards.
Who mows the lawn?
Alan mows the lawn.
Who looks after the cars?
Alan looks after the cars, it's shameful. I think we both feel, I mean, it's such an obvious way of balancing things that there's very little grey area to argue about. So Alan knows that he is free to set up his own business and to work like crazy for it because I'm at home taking care of everything, and he knows that that's all done and not something he needs to think about. And I know that I can be at home with the children because he's taking care of bringing money into the family.
When you're doing the domestic work, whether it's the cleaning or the laundry or the cooking or the emptying the dishwasher, do you get fed up with that?
It's all right. It's a mindless activity that means you can, I might be listening to the radio, or there's always something to think about, I find. If you're not chatting to the small person who's with you. It looks like a nice garden.
Do you ever get bored?
I don't think I do, no.
So you feel fulfilled?
Yeah, I do.
Are you a feminist?
Yes. Yeah. To be honest, I don't think feminism has an awful lot to do with being at home with your child or not. Every woman having to or choosing to go out to work, that isn't feminism, that's capitalism and consumerism. Feminism to me is about all sorts of different things and being heard and, male-female relationships and so on. But I think you can perfectly well be a feminist and spend time at home when your children are younger.
In terms of your relationship, Alan, which of you works harder?
I don't know. I mean, there's phases where I work crazy hours, till 2 a.m. for months on end. But then when I do full-time days with the kids, I find it very, very difficult. It's extremely difficult looking after 3 young children. So I don't know, it was probably equal.
You've said that you know that looking after children is very hard, but is that really what you think when you've done a really long day in your office? Do you think that Mel's worked as hard, or has she just had a lovely time picking vegetables?
It looks attractive sometimes, doesn't it?
Oh. So the last row that you had, what was it about?
What was the last row we had? It's only a matter of days ago. What did we argue about? Alan's actually much better at making time for the two of us, and I'm always, oh no, I'm busy and stop, blah, 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 and don't irritate me. And why would I want to stop to hug you? What would that all be about? So that can be difficult, can't it?
Yeah, what do we round about?
Probably about lighting the Aga, actually, wasn't it? I got really cross about that, yes. Because it seems sometimes Alan's got endless hours to make furniture and all these things, but when I say, can you do this light fitting or can you help me light the Aga? He said no. I spend so much time looking after 4 other people that if I want someone to do something for me, it's me being looked after, and I'm sort of crying out for that. So maybe it is something I could do perfectly well, but there's something quite nice about seeing someone else on their knees doing something for you. But
is it true, Alan, that are you consciously trying to resist a sort of very gendered division of labour?
I definitely get that feeling sometimes. There's definitely jobs that Mel is able. It's fitting windscreen wipers to a car, for example. I always have it's always a hassle. It's always and you're just as capable as doing it, of doing those kinds of things.
What about things that I do that you're just as capable of doing? That you never do?
Like what?
Like washing the kitchen floor or cleaning the bathrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just a one-way street, apparently.
Stroke for school.
Are you a feminist, Caroline?
Yes, definitely.
Did your own mother work when you were growing up?
Well, I think this is very interesting because, yes, my own mother did work. And I think that's probably as influential on me as anything else. Well, look, I tell you what, if you were going to go to pick up some ham, could you possibly get a couple of packets of sweets, wrapped sweets?
Pastels.
I would have said pastels or perhaps something that's actually in a sort of little plastic packet, but not chocolate.
Caroline Guttrell is an academic at Lancaster University and has 2 daughters aged 11 and 7. Her husband, Tony, is also an academic at the university.
Who's the kind of chief household administrator?
Me, definitely me. I'm the coordinator. I've got it all in my head. I know exactly who's doing what and where. If you're thinking about the household in terms of what the children do, how they're getting to school, what they have to take there, whether or not it's PE or food tech, what particular variety of clothing they need to take, whether it's the school fair, celebration, assembly, who's doing it, where they're going to be collected, where they're going to be, that's absolutely entirely me. And in terms of, I suppose the main source of household administration that's not that is the food, and that would be Tony. So he does all the shopping, all the menu organisation, all the cooking and all the clearing up.
Which of you gets more time to themselves?
I would say neither of us gets very much time to ourselves. That is an issue. But I also think, but what do you want? We want children. We both want our jobs. So, something's got to give.
Tony, would you say that you and Caroline work equally hard?
I think Caroline works harder, actually.
Do you think so?
I think so, yeah. Caroline's a lecturer. She wants to be a senior lecturer. She wants to be a professor at some stage. That's an admirable goal, and she has my support to do that.
And who does the laundry?
That would be mostly me, I think.
I think that would be mostly
Yeah,
Caroline.
that would be mostly me.
Do you do any washing, Tony?
Yes, I do. There are these things called personal balls that go in the machine that I buy and I use and I put in the machine. So I do some, but I think Caroline is better organised at that than I am and makes sure it gets done.
So I noticed that you have those nice squishy Persil non-bio things for doing your washing. Is that something you've spotted in the supermarket and you've bought, Tony, that innovation in your lives?
It's not a conscious innovation. I don't know how that came about. That's what we buy. That's what we've always bought. But we didn't sit down and say, hey, we should buy these particular balls. But
I suppose I'm asking.
I'm sorry.
I mean, let's talk balls now.
Sorry.
I suppose I'm asking about gender roles.
Well, I would say with that we made a choice once. And I can't think what we did before we had children, but when we had children, I have a feeling my mother always used to buy non-bio. So I always buy non-bio because I don't like the idea of them having biological washing powders. However, that decision has been made. I don't think either of us have invested any further thought in what type of washing powder we buy.
Perhaps we should, though.
You have, maybe. Because you've gone from the tablets to the squishy balls.
No, I don't think we ever had tablets, did we? Did we ever have tablets?
I can't even remember. But as long as it's Persil non-bio, it's fine. Oh, I bet it's because it comes with the washing machine.
Does it?
Yes, it does. I don't know when we moved from tablets onto the squidgy balls, but...
And they're a nice colour.
But we always buy, so I think we're very brand loyal, mostly due to apathy.
And I check when we need them.
That's true.
Make a mental note to buy them.
It's so true, yes, it is.
Okay, so we're never going to know who made the transition.
I'm sorry. The British public will never know this.
No.
I think we'll have to discuss it later, I think.
Because they're quite expensive, those squishy.
If you go to Wilko's, they're cheaper. So I prefer...
You don't know that, Caroline, because you don't do the shopping.
I was just not that. I would just, if we needed them, I'd probably go to Booths, which is the local supermarket, and I'd just pick some up there.
But I know a place where you can get them cheaper.
Are you a feminist, Bruce?
I'm all for the woman in terms of getting out there, equal opportunity, working hard, having the same opportunities. I'm absolutely for that. I think Claire definitely feels she's carrying more of the burden. Absolutely.
Is she carrying more of the burden?
Of course. I felt there was frustration there, or is frustration there sometimes.
With strawberry jam?
Yeah. Oh.
Strawberry.
When Claire Maslin had her daughter Evie, she imagined she would give up work and stay at home in the suburbs as a full-time mother.
When I went on maternity leave, I thought that I would probably stay off work for, a few years. I didn't think that I would go back quite as soon as I did.
So when you then had Evie and you were at home here in Camberley with a little baby, how did you find that?
Lonely, really lonely, and tiring and exhausting, but just the lack of adult interaction was the thing that really hit me.
When Evie was 10 months old, Claire decided to return to work as a manager for a mobile phone company, leaving Evie in a nursery.
First week, I think, you leave the nursery in floods of tears, and but then you get into the swing, and I went back 3 days a week initially, and you realise actually there are some huge benefits. You feel refreshed when you come home, although you're tired, mentally tired from doing a job. You're refreshed and you can't wait to see your child, and you've got all sorts of things to talk to your partner about, and you can have a cup of tea without it going cold, silly things, but yeah, you can see the benefits of it.
Right, we run? Easy bottom!
So you were running the household?
Yep.
Doing the shopping?
Yeah.
Doing the domestic work?
Yeah.
All of it?
Yeah.
Doing the laundry?
Yeah.
Doing the tidying up?
Yeah.
Doing the ironing?
Yeah.
Everything?
Yeah, with the exception of mowing the lawns and putting the bins out. So we had kind of, I suppose, quite a traditional, if you look back to, 50s and 60s, quite a traditional roles, but the difference was both of us then going out to work.
How highly organised are you?
Super organised. Drives everyone mad, but it's the only way you can stay on top of it.
Would you say you're quite controlling, Claire?
Yeah, everyone says that.
Bruce Maslin has a well-paid job in the city and usually works long hours.
Which aspects of Evie's care were down to you on a daily basis?
That's a difficult one, that one. Which aspects were down to me? I don't think there were any aspects down to me, to be honest.
Who did the shopping?
Food shopping? Claire. She doesn't trust me doing food shopping.
Who did the cooking?
Claire, she doesn't trust me cooking. No.
Who did the laundry?
Claire, she doesn't trust me with whites. I freely acknowledge I'm just crap. If it comes to washing, I will get the colours to run. If it comes to cooking, I will burn the fat. That's all there is to it. So I think there are certain things that Claire wants to do or would feel more comfortable with. There are certain things I would rather do. I would rather mow the lawns than have Claire do that. I would rather vacuum the leaves than have Claire do that.
Is Claire very controlling?
I think Claire is incredibly well organised. Very organised.
Was that good for you or bad for you?
I like to have a plan. I like to have a good time. I like to have a plan, and I also like a plan. I think all plans need to change as you go along. Claire likes to be very. She is well ordered. You could say controlled. I wouldn't say controlled, but she's certainly well ordered. And sometimes I don't want that. I don't like it. It's not fun.
Bruce and Claire have decided to separate. Claire now lives with Evie on her own.
Evie, do you want mayonnaise? Evie?
In terms of how you run your life, Claire, do you need a man for anything?
No, thank you. Practical day-to-day, no. No, I don't need a man.
Thank you.
Do you want some more tomato?
No.
You sure?
Do you think it makes it hard for you to know how to kind of cooperate with a man or to know what a man is for? Because actually, you're perfectly all right without one.
Yeah, probably. Because there is, it's like, I don't need to ask for anything. I can just do it. There are some physical things that I will not do. I will not get up and clean the gutters out. So yes, if I need a man, then that is for something like that.
Okay, so gutter cleaning is the only thing you can think of.
You gonna call Ruben? On my shoulders, count of 3. Right, enough.
Morning, can I have a kiss? Are you alright? Yep. Okay.
Diane Reddish has a degree in English from Oxford University and had a successful career in retail management before becoming a mother. Aged 42, she's married to a lawyer, has 3 children and has looked after them full-time for the past 13 years.
I'm here for my children. That's my role. And I think with your babies, there is so much as mothers that only we can pass on to them. Their brains are developing so quickly, their emotional needs are huge, and we've got that great window of opportunity to teach them concentration, to play games with them, to make their world fascinating. And no one else is going to do it because they don't love them. No, if you pay somebody, it's based on salary. We love our children, and we can open up this whole world to them. And I just think that's the most fantastic opportunity to have.
Let's run through who does the domestic work here. Do you do all of it? Do you do The shopping, the cooking, the washing, the ironing, the cleaning. Do you do everything?
Yeah, more or less. Charles is the breadwinner. I mean, if Charles wasn't doing the job he was at, if he wasn't working the hours he was working, then we couldn't be here. We couldn't live here. We couldn't have the lifestyle we have. And I'm hugely appreciative of that. And I make sure that the children are as well.
So there is a very clear division of labour, which in a way is quite straightforward, isn't it?
Well, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I wouldn't describe him as a new man, but I wouldn't want a new man in my life.
Why not?
Oh, I couldn't bear it, I don't think. No, not for me. I like my husband as he is.
What aspect could you not bear? What do you mean when you say that?
I don't know. I don't think I could stand somebody pandering me all the time. No, that wouldn't be for me.
In what way are you different from a 1950s housewife?
I suppose for me the big thing is probably that element of choice. I don't ask him for permission to act. I will ask him for his advice and value that and value his support beyond anything else. But it's not about permission. And I think that's a shift that's important between a married couple that perhaps existed in the 50s.
What is the point of your education? Do you need a degree from Oxford in order to stay home and look after your children?
No, you don't. You don't need a degree in life to do a lot of things. But I think that, I think for me, the benefit of being well educated is that you can pass that on to your children.
When you were at Oxford, would that have been your view?
Can you get in, please, Roo? I don't know, really. I'm not really sure I ever thought an awful lot about motherhood at Oxford.
If I'd have asked you then what your education was for...
I'm sure it would have been much more radical. I mean, I'm sure it would have been much more about a woman's place is in the workplace, I'm sure, at that time. But I think that the experience of motherhood, for me, was an overwhelming one.
Would you say, Charles, that the two of you have an equal relationship?
Yes.
Who does the laundry, Charles?
Diane.
And who does the cleaning?
Diane.
So, Charles, if you have a bath, do you clean the bath when you get out?
No.
So why do you not clean the bath?
I don't know.
And when you next come to get in the bath, has it normally been cleaned?
Yes. I assume so.
But also, in all honesty, when you come home of an evening and get in the bath, quite often there's a child or two that will jump in as well. So quite often you get out and sort them out too.
So when you don't clean the bath, is it your assumption that Diane will do it?
No. Well, the assumption it will be done, I guess.
So if it wasn't Diane doing it, who would be doing it?
Diane would arrange for it to be done.
OK, so I'm going to push you on that. You've got to clean it 1 day a week. So when you say Diane would arrange for it to be done, does the bath get cleaned more than once a week?
I have no idea.
Would you notice if it was dirty when you got in it? When you went to run a bath?
Well, I don't know a lot about bath cleaning, but it strikes me it'd be difficult to see how it'd be very dirty, because its water flushes away. I think there are degrees to which you can clean a bath. I suspect I have been in hotels where the bath is more gleaming than it is at home. But the bath is entirely sufficient for my needs without being gleaming. So it suggests it's clean, but perhaps not as frequently as in a hotel.
So, Diane, when you have a bath, do you clean it afterwards?
Yeah, around the edge, yeah.
And do you clean the bath after Charles has had a bath?
Well, to be honest, it's literally, the kids do all tend to jump in. I'll do that night, I'll go into the bathroom after everybody's finished and have a clear up and a tidy round.
So we'll do that of an evening when everybody's done and finished. Yeah. Pick up clothes, wipe the floor because it's usually soggy, give the bath a wash round. Yeah.
Do any conflicts arise between the two of you about domestic work, would you say?
No, not domestic work, no.
And Charles, do you ever think that you could or should do more?
No.
Which of you works harder?
I think we work equally hard.
Who has a longer day, Charles?
Diane.
Woman's lot is to give and give, and go on giving. A woman's got to love and lose, and go on living. Well, I was born a woman, I didn't have no say. But when my man finally comes home, he makes me glad it happened that way. Because to be his woman.
And we've got some strong women coming up tonight here on BBC4. There's drama with The Secret Life of Mrs. Beeton in just a few moments. Then Mark Lawson interviews the original domestic goddess Marguerite Patton at 11:25. And then there's 100 years of The Girl Guides at 25 past midnight.